Finally, we are here.
Eagle 1, do you have a location where the subject was last seen?
I'm working on it. They're still shaky. Stand by.
Have you found Alex?
We've got a lot of good people on the river looking for your friend.
Swiftwater 412, we just launched a quarter-mile upstream.
Roger that. They have red life jackets. Do you copy?
Affirmative on the red life jacket.
Look, I need to know where you guys got into trouble so we can start searching downstream from there. The raft turned over. You're all outside the raft. What happened?
It was pretty smooth at first. We were just hanging out.
Yeah, remember Alex was videotaping everything.
Yeah.
Then we came around the bend, and the current was picking up, and there were rocks everywhere.
And we spun around into a big wave or something. I don't even know what happened. But all of a sudden we were in the water and the raft was on top of us.
But you all had life jackets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well, Alex didn't. I mean, he had it, but he never put it on.
If I had to guess, these adventurers never imagined they'd end up in the morning papers. Hey, stuff happens on the river all the time. People bump into rocks, fall in, swim. It makes great stories to tell your friends, but it rarely makes headlines. Until it does. Until someone doesn't come home. And too often, that someone wasn't wearing one of these. Yeah, I know, you hear it all the time. Wear a life jacket! Wear a life jacket! But you're not afraid of the water. You're a good swimmer. Is it really that big of a deal? Well, let's check it out. When you think river, you think water flowing downhill, right? But take a look at the river bed. Not exactly a smooth slide to the sea. When the bed's level, the river makes pools. But if it's steep, the river screams along and all those rocks force the current to rise and fall, twist and turn. Rapids, it's why we came. Fast-moving water can pile up in big waves or pillow up in front of a boulder. The bottom can drop out of it. In eddies, it even flows back upstream. Now, if you've got a boatload of flotation around you, let's say your average canoe will safely float around 500 pounds. A really big canoe, 1,000 pounds. This tube, maybe 250. Does this make me look fat? Anyway, when you've got all this flotation, you just bob along on top of the water. So the river is relatively forgiving of operator error. So let's say things don't go the way you planned. Oh, you dodge right, you scoot left. Bam, you lost your ride. Busted. Once a proud boater with a lofty view. Now you're just a lowly swimmer and the river is square in your face. It happens. But you're wearing a life jacket, so without having to think about it, you've taken your flotation with you into the river. That's about 15 pounds of wonderfully buoyant force strapped right where you need it.
Yeah, I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's enough to keep your head above water, especially this part. And I don't know about you, but I use this part to breathe. Ah, oxygen.
Just be sure your life jacket is clipped and zipped, aka securely fastened. Otherwise, your life jacket floats, but you don't. The trouble with being in the water rather than on it is you're at the mercy of the current, and when the river's cranking, you pretty much go with the flow.
Oh, nasty.
FYI, this stylish accessory also helps cushion the blows from rocks. Ooh, ouch! So here you are, floating along. Normal people like me want out, fast. Oops, there goes my ride. Now, you've got to get to somewhere safe on your own. If you can swim to a calm place near shore, do that. What you don't want to do is to try to find your footing. You know, in fast water that's more than knee-deep, don't stand up. I repeat, don't stand up. Counterintuitive, you say? Fair point. It's not that deep. Maybe I can walk to shore. OMG! Look at what you'd be walking over. There's all sorts of nooks and crannies down there. And if you were to jam or wedge your foot in one, in a split second, the current can push you over and hold you under. Not a pretty sight. River runners call this foot entrapment, and it kills people every year. Want to pass on that? Wear your life jacket. It has the flotation you need to keep your feet off the bottom, away from those nasty nooks and crannies, and out in front where they can fend off rocks. Now suppose the river rises. The rapids get deeper, so foot entrapment is less likely, but some interesting stuff starts to happen. Where the channel necks down and the current speeds up, you get big standing waves. They're great for surfing. In other places, boulders and ledges that were high and dry now have water pouring over them, forming what boaters call holes. The name fits because you literally drop down into the big ones. So here's the thing. This is nothing like a lake. On a river, the water's got energy, and it doesn't just flow politely along horizontally. Some of these currents can go down and act like an undertow, like right here. You see the fast current shearing under all this foam? It's features like this that make it so hard for a swimmer to stay on the surface in swift-moving water. It doesn't need to be a raging rapid to pull you under. Just fast-moving water can do the job. Boils and whirlpools like these are telltale signs of water moving up and down, pulling you up and down. Left your life jacket in the raft? Take a deep breath, because you're about to spend a lot of time underwater. Without your life jacket, your buoyancy is just about zip, zilch, nada. A hole like this is so full of bubbles, it's hard to tell where the water ends and the air begins. Now, this is from physics class. Water this foamy is less dense, so it won't float a swimmer very high. Getting clear air to breathe can be tough. Question: what would happen to you without a life jacket on, or with one on that's not securely fastened? Do the math. Physics. Yeah, you know what I mean. Luckily, most holes are small and fairly harmless. You punch through, or you get stuck for a few seconds and then spit out. Others are downright terminal. Low-head dams are only a few feet high, so you might not notice them until it's too late. They look easy to run, even safe, but the hole below these dams is a killer. It swallows up the river's debris, including you and your boat. The backwash traps you in an endless recirculation, down to the bottom, back up, and down again. If you're unlucky enough to go into one of these drowning machines, and lucky enough to get flushed out alive, you'll definitely, absolutely, positively be glad for one of these. So, you can see, while rivers offer up great fun, they can also throw in some truly dangerous stuff. It's not like your local pool or the water slide at the amusement park. Rivers weren't designed for our safety. For one thing, they change without notice. Snow melts in the mountains. It rains long and hard upstream. Floodgates open. These are unpredictable kinds of things that determine how much water comes down the river. Let me put it another way. The river might be different than the last time you saw it, or the last time your buddy saw it. You know, the buddy that talked up the trip and then didn't show. The stretch of river you're running may have a reputation as being lazy, safe, and fun. But if the river level is up, and it's not always obvious if there's a calm pool at the put-in, if the river level is up, there are places downstream that may now be dangerous. That ledge where you and your friends chowed down last summer, now with more water coming down the river, has a very sticky hole behind it. There may be new hazards like strainers that weren't there before. Strainer is the very graphic name river runners give to anything that the current can go through, but you or your ride can't. Rivers rise and fall all the time, and at high water, this stuff washes into the river and gets stuck in other places downstream. That's a big problem if you're just coming around the bend, and seriously scary if you're in the water. No surprise that a life jacket will float you higher, which can help you get over the top of a strainer. Another thing happens when the river is up. The current gets fast and powerful, pushing you where you don't want to go. So in trying to avoid nasty stuff, you'll have less warning and less time to make decisions. Bottom line, rivers change all the time. Hey, that rhymes. Wow, I think I'll get a start on my tan. Oh yeah, just one more thing about life jackets, I promise. After a long, cold winter, a day like this brings people to the river. Now, the air may be warm, but the water's still pretty chilly. Warm air, cold water. It's a potentially fatal trap. For starters, sudden immersion in cold water can cause you to gasp, which is bad if you're underwater. Then there's all the other hazards like unexpected swims, foot entrapment, holes, strainers, and those get all the more dangerous when you're in cold water. Because it doesn't matter how warm the air is. Newsflash, if you capsize, correction, when you capsize, you're in the water, cold water. And here's the thing, water draws heat away from your body 25 times faster than air. So your muscles get cold very quickly. Well, cold muscles don't work very well. As in trying to zipper your jacket on a cold day when you can't feel your fingertips. Now, imagine struggling to shore with arms and legs that won't work. Bet you'd be loving your life jacket then. So now we've got the picture. We've seen how life jackets actually do their job on the river. A river with its complex currents can be dynamic and unpredictable. Random stuff happens and could happen to you. Think of your life jacket as a safety net. With life jackets all around, these four would have enjoyed a great day on the river. Instead, they ended up in the news. Hey, life jackets are easy, comfortable, and stylish. The trick is, they only work if you wear them. Woo!